eggshells rather than move on. The glow is renewed and then diminished. You feel spun and unfinished, but separating pain isn't where you want.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Nick Capello. I'm the editor of the book, Letting Go: A Mother's Journey. And it is my privilege and honor to go ahead and bring to you the author of this fine book. Her name is Lenora Scurry. Lenora Scurry, welcome to the set.
Hi, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining me.
Now, is this your first Facebook Live you've done, or?
No, past several years, I had done several. I used to go into my group, The Empowered Light, quite often. But since I've been working and writing my book and working on the marketing for that, I kind of stepped away from that for a moment. So it's been a little bit.
Gotcha. Well, we're glad to have you back, and we're glad to have you back as now an author.
Thank you so much.
So let's go ahead and just dive into a little bit here. For those people that may be listening right now or may be listening to the feed afterwards that don't have the opportunity to, have read your book, what's it about? Just like in the big version of it.
It's a memoir of my life. So it starts back from the time that I was born, and then it goes all the way up until last year. And it shares a lot of trauma, different things that I've gone through in my life, and ends up going into chapters about my daughter, who I have an estranged relationship with, and kind of tells my journey of that, some of the things I've been through with her, how I overcame that, and how I am now able to live a life where I can share my story without it just breaking me down. And I want it to be a story that resonates with a lot of people, that will give them hope. And I hope in those pages that they'll find resilience to know that they have the power to really overcome anything in their life that comes at them.
And trust me, this book throws a lot at you. So, if you're resilient, this book will do absolutely nothing but bolster that resilience. So, let's kind of go in a little bit. You talked a little bit about the inspiration behind the book. Let's go in just a little bit deeper. Why did you want to write this book? What is the compelling reason that we have this lovely book in our hands right now?
Well, I had just gotten to a point where I wasn't able to live life. I was just so broken and so devastated. I'd even become suicidal. And once I made it through that, and thankfully I'm still here, I didn't commit suicide. But after that, it really opened my eyes that I needed to do something. I was going to have to make a change, or I wouldn't be here. So actually, I wrote this book not only to save my life, but to help save other people's lives as well.
That's good. That's good, because there's a lot of teaching moments in this book, and there's a lot of things, that people that are looking for this book, they can't vocalize, they can't, put into words, because they're either scared to, or they can't do something. Hopefully, when they read this book, they'll have that power. You came out and you did it. And this book has actually been seen by over 67,000 people. They haven't really read it yet, but I know full well that the pages of this book have at least been seen by 67,000 people. So, so here's a question that I know that you're gonna have a good giggle at. How was the process of writing this book?
Well, it was extremely difficult, because I had to go back and relive from my childhood up till now, and I'm 63 years old. So that's a lot of going back and reliving. But it was also very cathartic for me, because I was holding so much inside of me, and I went through a lot of this alone. One, because of embarrassment, because, most times mothers, however their kid turns out, it's the mothers, the parents that are judged. If your kid's like that, you must have been a terrible mother, or you must have done something wrong. In my case, that just wasn't so. I mean, I was not a perfect mother, but I gave her, my daughter, I gave her my life. Every breath that I breathed was for her.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't figure out how this happened, where this came from. So in writing the book, I did a lot of research and, found out that that's just not the case. And then I was able to not be embarrassed anymore and not be ashamed, because I was afraid of being judged. I was afraid of them thinking that it was
Right.
a terrible, but
Right,
it
right.
didn't.
But yeah, but
Not being
what I was really alluding to was, you got the book down, you had the manuscript ready and stuff like that. The fun
Mhm.
process that happened afterwards, all the stuff, before we met, when we met, and just all that kind of stuff. It was a cacophony. It was a cacophony of errors, but we managed to get through it, didn't we?
Yes, thanks to you.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I remember when you came up to me and you were talking about the book, and just how long that the other company had you writing it and rewriting it and rewriting it, quad writing it and
Mhm.
stuff like that, and just how many times we have had to go back and forth and back and forth. But throughout this whole thing, the reason why I'm saying this question is a lot of people don't understand. They think, okay, I write it, it goes into an author, it goes into a ghostwriter, it goes into this, it goes into that, and I may do one, two, maybe three revisions. I think we did what, at least six, maybe 10 revisions at most, of your original manuscript.
Oh, no, we did a lot more than that.
Well,
A whole lot more.
I'm trying not to scare them all here, But yeah, no, I mean, it was multiple things. But perfection cannot be caught, on the first time. So that's why you have to
Right.
go back and you have to redo it and redo it and redo it and redo it. And so there's also that thing, where it's like, okay, how much is overwriting, how much is this? But I do believe that we caught the best part of this book, in
Yes.
this whole thing.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and get a little bit more, personal here. What does letting go actually mean to you personally?
To me,
The
letting
actual
go
words
meant,
letting go.
yes, to a lot of people, they misunderstood, and I received a lot of not so good feedback about, you're a mother, you should never let go, you should always be about behind your child, and don't get me wrong, I am. If she were to call me right now, and say, Mom, I need help, or, what can we do, or whatever, I would be there for her. Letting go to me meant letting go of all of the drama, all of the abuse, all of everything that came behind this situation and what it looked like. So I had to let go of all that, and I had to choose me, which meant setting boundaries, which meant not always taking her phone calls, not always answering a text, which is a mother. If you're a mother, that's very difficult. But that's what letting go means to me. Just letting go of all of
Mhm.
that drama and all of that BS and all of the abuse and all of the heartache that came behind what was going
Right,
on.
right. And do you believe that your background as a life coach and stuff like that helped you form that opinion?
Yes, yes, because in sharing with other women and maybe even going through something not as bad as I did, or even worse, when I would be giving them the advice and different things of how I would handle it, because when you're on the outside looking in, it takes on a whole different meaning. So there'd be times that I would be sharing with these women what I felt like that they should do, and it would like hit me right between the eyes and like, well, you're not doing that. So it really helped propel me to pay closer attention to what was going on around me and how I reacted to it and how I responded to it, and making sure that I kept the boundaries that I set.
Okay. So what do you see as like the besides the fact that you've got the book out and stuff like that, what do you see the rewards of just the writing process, not the actual book itself, the process? What are some of the rewards that you have gotten, that you have felt, that you have encountered?
Well, the main thing to me would be being able to share this with other women that are going through something similar or even worse. Being able to
Hmm.
put the word out there and let them see and understand and know that I'm no different than anybody else. And if I can make it through it and I can make a difference in their lives, that's what's important to me, because I didn't go through what I went through just to go through what I went through. I truly believe that. I went through what I went through so that I would be able to share and be able to help other women, even other men if they're interested, but my heart is geared more toward helping women, but be able to help them through that situation and to understand and to see that they're not alone.
Correct. Correct. Um, so to you, if you had to pick one of the hardest moments in that book to relive, what would that have been?
Oh my gosh. Um, you should have
Would
prepared
that
me
have
for this
been?
one. Um, I,
Would that be the
I
kidnapping?
don't
Would that
know.
be?
One comes to my mind is when my daughter had called and told the police that I had kidnapped her son, which I hadn't. She had given me temporary custody. And I was in the background fighting for custody of all four kids, but she ended up giving me temporary custody of just him. And she called the police and told them that I had kidnapped him. And they swarmed my house like the SWAT team, showed up here and threw me down, hit my face on the table, threw my hands behind my back. It was just horrible. But the worst part of that was later when I saw the webcams from the police officers, and get a little emotional here. My grandson was screaming and crying and yelling and begging them not to make him go with his mom, and then telling me, "You just don't understand. Please, you don't understand. Don't make me go with her." And that big 6'5" officer getting in his face and telling him to shut up or he's going to arrest him. And the look on my grandson's face just was like said it all. That was a really hard moment to actually see that.
Hmm. Right, right. And
And imagine
so,
how lost he must have felt knowing that they were still going to take him and
yeah,
give him back to her.
yeah. No, I hear you. Um, and the reason why I brought up that particular question is because we're almost halfway through our
Okay.
little event here, and I would like to have her read from chapter 7, which details that a little bit more. So, Miss Lenora Scurry, the floor
Um,
is yours.
I think that's not in chapter 7. Um, yeah, because you had told me to read chapter 7, and that's mistakes made
Yes,
with good intentions. That's when I stopped being the go between Carrie and her father. So that about the
correct,
rest is a
correct.
late. Do, do you know real quick what chapter that is?
Um,
I'm looking
not
too.
off.
Guys, I'm sorry.
Not, Yeah, that off the top of my head, and I apologize. That was the wrong sentiment there. But let's just go ahead and read from chapter 7, mistakes made with good intentions.
Okay. Yeah. And then if you guys buy the book, then you can read all about how I ended up being falsely arrested and everything that was behind that. Um,
Correct. And just before you read it, for those of you that are actually in the feed right now, I see you. We see that we've got some people that are talking, leaving comments. After she reads this, we'll go over some of the comments, and we have a little bit of surprise for you. There will be a
yes.
twenty
I love
dollar
surprises.
gift card. Yes, there will be a $20 Amazon gift card for one lucky participant in this chat right now. So, Miss Lenora Scurry, please, we would love to hear the
Okay.
chapter.
Well, I know you've all seen it, but just to share it, this is Letting Go, a Mother's Journey. And I'm going to be reading from chapter 7, and it's called Mistakes with Good Intentions. And the quote that I have on that is, mistakes can be our greatest teachers, provided we are willing to learn from them. Okay. When I stopped being the go-between Carrie and her father, my worst fears materialized. He simply vanished from her life. In those quiet moments when the house is eerily still, I wonder if his absence could be part of what set her on such a troubled path. The pain of watching my little girl yearn for a daddy who chose not to stay still echoes in my heart after all of these years. It's one of those questions that keeps a mother awake at night, searching for answers that never come. The guilt settles over me like a familiar weight. Here I was feeling responsible for their broken relationship when I had spent years trying to keep it alive, driving endless hours for visits he'd often skip, making excuses for his absence until I just ran out of words. That's what mothers do, isn't it? We take on blame that isn't rightfully ours, carrying burdens that should never have been ours to bear. The guilt layered on top of what I'd already carried about another incident, my failure to protect her from an assault that happened to her at age 6. My response was to try making everything else in her life perfect, as if enough toys and treats could somehow fill the empty spaces in her heart, just like food was the answer to fill the empty spaces in mine. My own weight became a constant reminder of my struggles. I rose to over 400 pounds. I felt trapped in a body that betrayed me, a vessel that weighed me down by anxiety and the shadows of my past. I was caught in a cycle, using food as a balm for my emotional wounds that just seemed to multiply with every passing day. My health spiraled downwards, a reflection of the turmoil within me. I tried to convince myself that I could just fix my physical self, then perhaps the rest of my life would follow suit. But every attempt at dieting or exercise felt like a futile battle against an ever looming darkness, leaving me more exhausted and defeated. As I faced the mirror, I didn't see the weight. I saw the burdens I carried, the guilt that wrapped around me like a suffocating shroud, and the unresolved pain that I had yet to confront. In the midst of this turmoil, I threw myself into being both mom and dad. I was determined that Carrie would never feel the rejection or want that had marked my whole life. I believed that by stepping into this dual role, I could shield her from the pain that I had endured. Even as I struggled to confront my own demons, I'd rush in to fix any problems when trouble came, thinking I was showing love. But instead, I was teaching her that she never had to face life's challenges head on. Without meaning so, I created what my mother would have sneered at a child who expected the world on a silver platter. When I occasionally tried to say no, Carrie would explode, screaming that as her mother, it was my job to give her whatever she wanted. This sweet little girl I had raised was transforming into someone I barely recognized, and I felt powerless to stop it. Looking back now with the wisdom of years, I can see how badly I messed up. All those material things, all that rushing to soothe her pain. What Carrie really needed was boundaries and guidance. But how could I know? My own child had been a master class in how not to parent. I was working from a broken blueprint, trying my best to build something better. The distance between us grew wider during her teenage years. Our house became a battlefield, with every day bringing new conflicts. Carrie started dating guys who were trouble with a capital T, just like I had at her age. The parallel scared me to death, but whenever I tried to talk to her about it, we'd end up screaming and fighting. We were trapped in a cycle of pain, both of us wanting to connect, but some way always missing each other. Somehow, some way, always missing each other. My family didn't help matters either. I remember when my sisters took their kids to Six Flags, deliberately excluding Carrie. When she found out, she cried all day. Their excuse, they assumed, I couldn't afford it, was just that, an excuse. They didn't want us there, plain and simple. Watching my daughter face the same kind of family rejections I had grown up with broke something inside of me and just made me furious. At 19, Carrie moved states away with yet another bad news boyfriend. History repeated itself in the worst way. He turned out to be violently abusive. Sometimes I wonder if there's something in our family's DNA that draws us to these type of destructive relationships. My mom, me, and now Carrie. 3 generations of women looking for love, but finding only pain. And I think I'll end there, Nick. I don't want to just keep everybody going on, but they can read the remainder of that chapter, in the book.
Right. But that was a very poignant and very, very insightful look into it. The inflection, your tone and stuff like that said volumes.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and let's see some of the people that came here to support you today. So first
Am I
off,
able
we
to see
have.
that? I don't see that. Can I see the? No. Okay.
No, unfortunately, no. It's in the main control on something that unfortunately is not working
Okay.
right now.
Guys, I'll go back later. Okay, sorry, Nick, to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I'll go back later, guys, and answer any questions and, comment on your comments that you put on there. So yeah, if you guys would, and just put us a bunch of stars, showing us that you love us, and any questions that you have, and I'll go back later and I'll answer those. Unless, Nick, are there any questions now? Would you like to answer a question? Or
There are no questions as of right now, but as I scroll up and down, if there is a question, I will see it. But Miss Angie Harold,
ask me some questions.
Miss Angie Harold, it says, "I'm here to support you."
Thank you,
Maddie Zegger, and please, if I mispronounce your name, forgive me. I'm doing the best that I can. I'm here supporting you, beautiful. You look absolutely beautiful.
Oh, I love you so much. I love
Janine
you,
Freeman. Janine Freeman,
hey,
I just found you. You look awesome. I'm so
my best
proud
friend.
of you.
Oh,
Jean's your best friend?
Jeannie's my friend. Yep, 44 years.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you,
well, thank you, Jeannie. It means a lot to have somebody that old of a friend to stick around with her through thick and thin, and to be here.
Yep.
Cindy Perry, I am here to support you. Audrey D. Harper, I am here to support you.
Hey, Audrey.
Maddie Ziegler again, you're doing amazing. Stay strong. Maddie Ziegler, Ren said you look beautiful, Nana.
Who said that?
Maddie Ziegler. Ren said you look beautiful. You want to say hi to Ren?
Hey, Ren. I hope you're on there watching Nana. I love you.
All righty. So we've got a bunch of smiling emojis from a Miss Christine Douglas Terrell. Angie is sending some hearts.
My best friend.
It's always good to have good friends, showing this kind of a level of support. That's awesome.
Yeah. We've been best friends for 8 years.
Yes. Jeannie Freeman said you did all that you could do. I know that for a fact, with a little heart. Cindy Perry, you're a very wise woman, Lenora, and this book is going to help so many wounded women. I love you, with a couple of hearts. And yes, this book is going to help a lot of people.
Yes.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Cindy has been another great big supporter. She comments, likes, shares. She does anything that she can do to help me. And Cindy, I do really appreciate you. And Cindy, I've never even met, but we keep saying we're going to one day. So hopefully that'll happen.
Well, Cindy, Lenora, Cindy. So, all right. So we do have our first question, and it's from Miss Cindy Perry. Is Carrie still keeping the kids from you?
Yes, I haven't seen or heard from them since last year. But my grandson, Easton, he has started seeing his dad more. And so last week and the week before, he did call me from his dad. So I did get to speak to Easton. He's the oldest. He's 15. So that's been great. But the three littlest ones I haven't heard from since last year.
It's horrible when kids are used as pawns. They're innocent. They don't know any different, and they're being thrown into a game that they just can't win, and that sucks. That's just a horrible thing.
Any
So
other questions, guys?
no, that's the end of the Q&A so far.
Okay.
So I do believe that, we're about 25 minutes in, and I did promise somebody a $20 gift card at the end of this. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to spin get it here. There we go. I'm going to spin the wheel o' names. So if you've commented on here, or if you're in the list of viewers, I put your name in this spinner thing, and we're going to spin your name. Those of you who want this, let's go ahead and show some love. Let's go ahead and show some heart. And good luck to everybody.
$20 Amazon gift card. Come on, come on. And Nick, I didn't know you were going to do this. I love this because, I know so many people on here personally. I was like, I didn't want anybody to think that what we were doing wasn't legit, Ah!
Yep, and yes, Miss Jean Freeman, which I spelled wrong, and I apologize for that. I was doing this when I was listening and going ahead and doing some other things. So I apologize for the misspelling of your name. However, we will make sure that we spell it right. Please feel free and either DM myself or Lenora, and you will have a $20 Amazon gift card.
That's right. And guys, other things that I'm going to be doing that I ask you to join like this, I'll be doing similar things. At the end of each one, we're going to do, Nick and I are going to come up with some ideas and things of what we can do. Because I know that your time is very important and I appreciate it much more than you'll ever know. So it's just my way of giving back to you for being here to love me and support me and to help me through this thing called life. So I appreciate you all.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've only known Lenora for a very small period of time, but as we've been talking through this whole thing, I feel like I've known her for her entire life. She is a woman that even if I didn't have joy and the pleasure of editing this book, I'd still love to sit down next to her. If she drank, she doesn't, I would have a beer with her. But she's the type of person that, there you go. She's the type of person that you can sit down, just talk, and she actually will listen, and she actually knows what to say and when to say it and how to say it.
Thank you for that.
Well, pretty much evidence in this big old thing we call.
You're gonna get me teared eyed up here now. Mess up my makeup.
You deserve it. This is your first book. So before we leave,
But not my last.
Before we leave, main question and my last question before we go. How does it feel to be an actual author now? You've done many things in your life. You're a life coach. You've helped many people. You've done a lot of things. Now you are an author. How does that feel?
Well, as everybody knows on here, I said when I started this, I'm going to be real and genuine and authentic. I just recently even started feeling like I am an author. And the reason behind that, though, is because it's so bittersweet because of what the book is about, because it includes trauma with family, trauma with my daughter. It was just very difficult. I stopped writing numerous times. I said I was not going to put the book out because I didn't want to hurt their feelings. I didn't want for it to shut down my relationships. But at this time, all my relationships had already been shut down. My sisters hadn't talked to me for 4 or 5 years. My daughter at this point hadn't talked to me in over a year. And I'm sitting over here feeling like I'm dying and not knowing what to do. And so I wrote the book. And then when it comes out, like I said, it was that bittersweet. But now the more involved that I get, and even like with all of you taking your time to join me tonight, those kinds of things just really, really motivate me. And Nick, you're a big motivator as well. I hope you know that you're not just the editor. We don't just work together, not just business. You're a great friend, and I appreciate all that you do to encourage me. But little by little, I'm starting to feel like I'm an actual author. So, and tonight just really, I feel like just the icing on the cake. It just, it's seeming much more real.
And the thing is, you've always been an author. You just never knew it. It took a hell of a struggle to get it out of
Yeah.
you. And once we got it out of you, and once we got it refined, hey, you're starting slow, but you're going to be killing it really, really soon. With people like I see in the chat right now that are sitting there, and just telling you just how awesome you are. Yeah, everybody needs people like that.
Thank you. Now you're really gonna make me cry because you're tearing up.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
I'm an old softy at heart. All right, so again, this has been the virtual book launch of Lenora Renee Scurry's initial book, Letting Go: A Mother's Journey. And let me tell you, it's been a journey bringing this to you, and it's been a journey getting to where we are right now. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. Buy
me
the book,
neither.
as you can see right here. Remember that quote? I wrote this book to save my life. And let's modify it a little bit. Read that book, and hopefully save your life.
And
For
real
myself,
quick, bye everybody. I want to take the time to say thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope you'll continue with me on this journey. I've got a lot of new and exciting things that I'm going to be doing. And I definitely need you guys, and I want you guys to be a part of it. So I love you all. Thank you. Kisses, kisses. And you know my son. Peace out.
well, she said it better. She said it better than I did. But on behalf of myself and the author Lenora Scurry, and you do not believe how proud I am to say those words, author Lenora Scurry. I wish you all a good day. I wish you all a good week. And remember, this is not for us. This is you, the community, the ones that support her, the ones that want to see her succeed. So make sure you tell everybody that you join the group. Make sure that you're letting people know that Lenora Scurry is a person and an author that can, in no matter what situation you're in. Again, thank you all very much for coming today. I appreciate it. I know Lenora appreciates it. And on that note, goodbye and have a great day.